Final hour for the week. OverDrive continues. Brought to you by FanDuel, bringing you everything from the opening line to the final score. Best bets later in the hour. Dear Hayesy-B coming up in half an hour. Luke Willson will join us here momentarily. And week 2 started with a bang for the Bills last night. Man, did they look good. And they dominated that game. And Tua obviously left with another concussion, and that certainly overshadowed the game. And there's a lot of concern for his well-being and his future. And a lot of people have been outspoken on what they saw last night and what they hope to see in the future with Tua. And we'll ask Luke about that. As for other injury news, I see that Jordan Love is listed as questionable, but not outright, like out of the game, right? Not officially inactive and not playing, just questionable, which I find highly questionable because I can't see him playing. But Christian McCaffrey has been ruled out. And that says to me, if it's happening on Friday, the NFL called up Shanahan and said, if he misses Sunday and you play we didn't know about it, we are going to absolutely roast you. If you know he's out, you better announce it on Friday. And that's what's happened here.
Well, they're talking about long-term.
They might put him on the IR and shut him down for 4 weeks. That's what they're talking about now. Man. Yes.
Well, it's a bigger picture for them, though, aren't they? They'll be fine.
Absolutely. Look what they did to the Jets last week.
Like, that guy's been injured a lot. Like, even his Carolina days, like, he seemed to be always out with something, man.
Yeah. Yeah, it's very hit or miss. Like, if he's in, he's a cheat code. He's a cheat code if he's playing. If he's not, you can bank on him missing an extended period of time. And this calf injury, that was the concern in camp when the calf strain pulled up and it was an issue and he wasn't practicing. You kind of knew something was coming here, and now he's officially ruled out. They're in Minnesota this week. They're still like a 5-point favorite. I think FanDuel's got them at like -4.5, -5 in that game. And I would expect they'll probably win that game, and maybe somewhat handedly because they're a better team than Minnesota. But McCaffrey out, Jordan Love officially listed as questionable for their game at home against Indianapolis. And, we'll see what comes of it moving forward. We'll see where Luke is at and his explanation on the Dolphins last night. He allowed you to make the pick. You finally stepped up and you took a losing team.
Did you see their excuse on Twitter? Did you see Luke after he was coming out of Jay's and he pointed to the moon or something like that?
Play him in the moon, I know. Al's brother put a hex on him through the moon last night.
I only call him up and get a feel for where his head's at. I just want to say, you're making the call, but my initial thought is Dolphins. I don't know what. It was a pick-em, in my opinion, after what we saw. Both teams kind of scraped by against their opposition in week 1, and it was like, who was going to put it together? And it's Buffalo. Mm-hmm. And you look back on it always, and you're like, I don't know about you, Brian, but I wake up and I'm like, how the hell did I not take Buffalo?
All the time.
Yeah, it's just like, what was I thinking not taking Buffalo? It was like it was right there in front of you, and you just don't do it.
Yep. You're getting plus points. They've dominated them for years. They were 11-1 or something in the last 12 against Miami. They've owned Miami. Josh Allen doesn't lose on Thursday nights. Like, now those trends, when they hit, they sound great. Right? Like Al's brother, the issue is they don't hit, so they don't sound great in retrospect. But when it does, you say, wow, those were trends that were really smart right in front of your face. Obviously, that was the play.
But with Al's brother, there's smoke and mirrors. He can shine up a turd and make it sound good, but it still is a turd. And the thing is with him, when he hits, like you say, it's amazing. But the times where it doesn't, you're just like, what the hell? And
obviously.
I know you're looking at in the mirror going, like I knew, San Fran. I was calling it. Remember, I was sitting in the studio. I'm like, I don't know why. And the look on your face, you went along with AB. But you wanted.
I was a prisoner of the moment. I was a prisoner of the moment.
You were a prisoner.
I was Al's brother's prisoner. That's what I was. I was a POW effectively for Al's brother. And I just had to go along with the ride. And I had Stockholm Syndrome. I'm like, all right, this is it, I guess. Al's brother, I have faith in him. But he is not a part of the program this week. Al's brother is officially on hiatus. He will return next week. Regardless of how this plays out, Al's brother will be welcomed back into the fold. But we have a few more picks to get to. The 1 o'clock game, the 4 o'clock game, and the Sunday Nighter. And to do that, look back on what happened last night. Joining us here on the Maple Toyota Hotline, here's our main man, Luke Willson. blaming the moon, of all things, for the pick last night. I don't know, buddy. That seems like a bit of a cop-out. That was just a bad play and a bad read of the board. No other way to put it.
You know what, Hayes? And I got to own that. I got to own it. But, boy, was I pretty shocked. Again, line's 2.5, and I sit here and I think to myself, and I feel like you're probably in the same boat when I say this. If I were to tell you that the Bills were going to win by 21 points and Josh Allen would have 2 total rushing yards and 139 throwing, you would have told me I was nuts.
Yep, for sure.
But, I mean, from top to bottom, the Bills' defense, I mean, obviously with the 3 picks, I thought Miami puked all over themselves. I thought their game plan was horrible to begin with. The Bills took advantage of it. And, you know, I think, again, I got to own it. I got to bear responsibility. I love to talk about, like, you know, these big-name players, Tyreek Hill, Waddle, Tua, Josh Allen. When I thought yesterday, who won the game was the Bills' defensive and offensive line. I mean, the offensive line was just bullying boys. James Cook is barely getting touch, and he's explosive. He gets into the secondary, and it's lights out. And on the other side, Ed Oliver seemed to make almost every other play. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, you tip your cap to the Bills, and like you said, it's a poor way for Team Owen Wilson to start the weekend, and I'm licking my wounds a little bit here. I don't mind losing. You know, the coin flip game is one thing, but getting absolutely blown out like I did last night, it's a tough pill to swallow.
Yeah, it can be, and I'm sure that's what Mike McDaniel's thinking today, because his head's got to be spinning now, right? With Tua, who knows if he'll play again, when he'll play again. They obviously don't have a plan beyond him because, you know, their backup quarterback just simply is, I don't think, capable of, you know, getting them to the playoffs. Yet you're 2 games into the season, you're 1-1. You had high hopes for the year. You still have weapons. You still have a good team in Miami. How do you think they're going to handle this? Let's presume let's say he doesn't play the rest of the year. What does Miami do from here?
You know, to me, I think they probably give Skylar Thompson 1 week and just to evaluate him. You know, you look at last night, he comes in the game down 21. That's not a fair situation for the guy. He looked very uncomfortable, obviously. But my point is, you sit there. This guy's been through camp with you. You know, you give him a week. You evaluate and say, hey, can we win games? Because you don't throw the towel in. You know, as easy as it sounds, and maybe as fans are saying, hey, the season's over, they're not going to do that right now. So you give him a week, and if you don't think that he can win you ball games, then you sit here and you go into free agency and try and get somebody off the couch that's a veteran guy. Like, the saving grace here is you still have tremendous skill players. You know, obviously Hill, Waddle, when Mostert's healthy. I mean, the best player on the field last night for the Dolphins was Achane. Like, these guys are elite and can still make plays. And the next thing is, and it's kind of shocking because they looked so bad last night, but this secondary for the Dolphins, I mean, you just paid Jalen Ramsey a gajillion dollars. You know, I know Poyer's getting up there, but he's supposed to be a good player for these guys. And they've got, you know, guys that are supposed playmakers on defense. Now, what happened to them yesterday, I have absolutely no idea. So I think you basically sit your defense down, tell them, hey, we got to bear down and get some stops here. And then on the other side, you give, you know, Thompson 1 week. And if not, I know a lot of people have been floating Ryan Tannehill. I floated the conspiracy theory that Stephen Ross, the owner of the team, who I believe the business school at the University of Michigan is named after, should call up Tom. I mean, that's my conspiracy here. Again, I doubt that happens, but I think it would be a shame if they just threw the towel in and said season's over because they have that much talent.
Partsy, as far as the Tua situation goes, like, being out of the game now and knowing what you know and how it's like got to get out there and play every Sunday and how tough guys are and the possibilities of what could happen after, what do you think the expectations for handling of Tua moving forward should be?
So, you know, last night, the knee-jerk reaction for me is his career's over. He should hang it up. He's done, you know, yada, 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 yada. But the reality is, Partsy, I'm not a doctor, and I've been out of the game for, 3 years now, and I know that the science is evolving. If I'm Tua, this is what I'm doing. And, again, I have had concussions in this league. Not to the extent that Tua has. Never had kind of, especially the stuff with his hand, being completely unconscious, that sort of thing. But I'm sitting here and I'm taking all the time in the world, and I'm going to see. And the NFL will help him. The NFLPA will help him. I promise you, Miami will help him. He's one of the most well-liked guys in the league. I'm going through the NFL's protocol. I'm going through our own team protocol, and I'm going and seeing the best concussion doctors on planet Earth. And whether that, I don't even know who these people are, whether it's in America, whether it's in Europe.
To find out what? If I can play again, or what is the damage, or what are you looking, what answers? Long term, the safety of it. And this is a true story. I remember the one year I had gotten a concussion, and I ended up in San Francisco that off season. And it was like there was a chiropractor in San Francisco that had one of those like NASA machines. He was like a concussion rehab specialist. And it was like, hey, I was going in there. They ran 1 million tests. And it was like they'd flip me, you'd buckle into this thing like a roller coaster almost. And you'd be zipping around, turning you upside down, and you'd have a laser, and you'd have to point at little targets. And they'd be scoring you. I know this sounds nuts, Partsy, but I swear to you, I did it myself. And my point is, if there is a hope, if there is a way to rehab, go to the guys who might be able, not lie to you, who are going to be honest. Or if this is it, if this is, hey, man, you're already in the danger zone, you get another one of these, and you are really pushing the envelope for long-term problems, then shut it down. But again, knee-jerk for me was shut it down right away. I think if I'm Tua, I'm looking at the very most recent studies. I'm talking to the greatest doctors in the world, and then I'm making a decision for myself and my family.
Yeah, and I think that's exactly what people should be bracing for. I know we're all in the moment. You saw, you were thinking it last night as a former player. A lot of former players tweeting it out. Current players, current coaches. Antonio Pierce, a coach in the league, is like, I would tell him to retire. And I'm just uneasy with that. This idea that it's becoming this overwhelming discussion that Tua, you have to retire now. And maybe he will, and maybe he should. And if he's told he should, he better. And I hope that there are people in his corner that say you gotta heed this advice, man. You got to accept it. You got to walk away from the game. But it's his life, it's his career. If he gets clearance and he wants to play, that doesn't mean he doesn't care about his family, or his life or something like that. It's going to be his decision, and it's going to be a complicated one. And there's a lot at stake. Not only his well-being, the future, all that, but let's call it what it is as well, man. It's a violent sport and it's a business. And if he gets cleared to play and he has to play to make another $100 million or whatever, he might play because of that, which is scary.
Think about the other guy that's on the opposition, Hayes, where it's like, if I hit this guy and I catch him, I'm going to be the one that possibly does fill in the blank to that guy. Like that, it's almost not fair to everybody else if he wheels back out there to some degree.
Well, you're right. That's tough, because what you're trying to fill in the blank. Like, what if it's something awful?
Well, of course. Now that
like
can happen to anyone. Right now, he's got the track record here clearly, and if it's a concussion, you're like, I know, we knew that was coming, and that's what makes it so difficult,
right,
to see and to witness. But Damar Hamlin, Luke, was the guy that hit him last night.
And Hayes, to be honest, part of why I get scared more so for Tua, and obviously concussions can come from, a variety of hits. But that collision yesterday is typically one that you don't see a concussion come from. If anything, I thought Tua kind of delivered the blow. And that's what I think scares me a little bit is, and again, this is talking from experience here. I've had 3 documented concussions in the NFL. And 1 was much worse than 2, and 2 was worse than 3. So there's no concussion. This isn't like hey, he's got a sprained ankle. All sprained ankles are similar. What I was told by our docs is every concussion is kind of its own entity. Yes, there can be similarities, but they're all different. So I guess what scares me is it's like Tua kind of lowered a shoulder. It was obviously a big collision, but not one you technically see a concussion from. And if you do, not one where you see, the whole hand. Like it's it's hard to
scary.
You just feel sick for the guy. It's scary. It's hard to watch. So it's like, to me, where I get a little wound up and scared and afraid for him is it's like that wasn't the biggest collision I've ever seen in my life. It wasn't a collision that I would expect a concussion, let alone one where you're unconscious and your arm is kind of seizing up. I don't know what the medical term is And that's where I get really, again, frightened for Tua.
I agree. And from my standpoint, I don't need to see him play. I don't want to see it, and it's very difficult to witness. But it's not my life. It's not my career. I mean, we'll see what Tua ends up doing in the future. But that was scary last night. But in the end, the Bills win. They made a statement. They look really good. And week 2 is off and running. And as we know, because it was announced yesterday, Al's brother will not be a part of this process. His music's not going to hit. He's not coming in. I know a lot of people are like, you're playing the role. Al's brother's going to storm in. I'm committed to this. It's a 1-week penalty. Not a penalty. It's a reset. It's Elias Samsonov's brother, and he's being reset. And he's on the ayahuasca retreat. And I hope he comes back bigger and better than ever, and I'm sure that he will. But the games we're playing are Bucs, Lions, Bengals, Chiefs, Bears, Texans. All right, so Hayes and Bro are on Bucs, Lions. Lions laying 7.5 on FanDuel. That's a massive number. This is a big number, and this is where my partsy. I'm curious how Al's brother would actually approach this. I know he'd have Trent.
Did you ask him? Was there any communication?
He is. I don't even think he's got his phone. I don't even know where he is. You know, I don't know where Al's brother is. I don't know what he's doing.
Yeah,
he might be. Listen, he might be cruising. His quarterly cruise is due any day now, so there is a chance he's cruising. But this is a big spread, and these are two good teams. And I think the Lions naturally are getting a lot of love, and they should. And that win the other night was a pretty big statement. They're playing Powerball. They're at home. I think what FanDuel and the odds makers are thinking here is people are going to jump on the Lions because they're the Lions, because they're Super Bowl favorites or contenders, because they played so well. I'm going to take the points. We're going to take the points. We're going to take Tampa here plus 7.5. They played really well last week. That offense has been cooking. They were a playoff team last year. I don't think anyone's talking about the Bucs. No one's paying attention to the Bucs. Everyone's paying attention to the Lions. This spread to me should be closer to like 5.5. I think it's too high. I think it's too inflated because Detroit's getting so much love. I think it's a closer game than that. I think it stays within a touchdown. Hayes and Bro on the Bucs plus 7.5.
Partsy, I'm sorry. You can weigh in on his decision right there, but I think you just gave us a point.
We handed you a win. Okay.
You just handed us one.
I think so too.
Yeah, I know, Partsy. We're back.
I mean, last night was tough, and I'm sitting here. I'm like, O-Dog. I'm sitting here, and I'm like, we got a chance to be the 08 Patriots and just run the table from here on out. And I got to own up to it. I made the mistake with the Fins. And I'm thinking, hey, we've opened the door for Hayesy-B. And what does he do? He comes back here and does some of the dumbest you-know-what on planet Earth and picks the Bucs. Because of what, Hayes? Because last week they looked good? Against who? Against who?
Against Washington. I understand they're terrible, but still, it was Baker Mayfield looked outstanding. Baker was good last year. I think Baker's got something.
You really want to
prove.
hitch your wagon to Baker Mayfield?
I do. If you give me 7.5, you give me a touchdown. That Bucs team, they were a playoff team last year. Playoff team. I think listen, I like the Lions. The Lions are clearly the better team, but I think this is an inflated line because the public is so horny for Detroit right now, and no one's paying attention to Tampa. And I'm saying I think you should. I think the Bucs are a good enough team to keep this game close. Bucs plus.
I'm telling you, Hayes, I would have taken the Lions. Now the Lions did jam me last week. We had the Rams against them. The Lions do generally jam me. They've done it since I was 3 years old, but I would have taken the Lions.
Okay. Well, that's fine, man. It's a big spread. You guys got a big spread in your game. Bengals, Chiefs, 4 p.m. window. Timo and Wilson on the clock, minus 5.5 on FanDuel. Who do you like and why?
Partsy, I'm going to be honest with you here. The stars can align again, and crazy things can happen, sort of like last night. But there's not a fiber in my body that would be okay picking the Bengals in this game.
Not a damn chance.
It's a crazy line. This line should be 8.5, 9.5.
I think KC beats them by 2 touchdowns.
Easily.
And that's not a joke. Man.
Long break. Bengals look brutal. Come on.
And yes, and just to push that narrative, like I can understand. Hey, you open week 1. Maybe there's a letdown, long break, yada, yada, yada. But this is a team that has won back-to-back Super Bowls. They're a mature team. They're a players-run team. They've got veteran guys, obviously Mahomes and Kelsey being 1 and 2. They know what's at stake here. They know they want home games. They cannot blow a game to Cincinnati in week 2. I think they come out here and absolutely roll and make another statement. This is a team that just lost to the Patriots.
Yeah.
The Patriots. And let's not forget here, this Kansas City defense in my opinion, is elite. And Steve Spagnuolo has these guys playing. I mean, if it wasn't for Lamar last week being just an absolute hero, that game is a blowout. So, and also I'm seeing they're talking smack to Xavier Worthy through the media. This is the Bengals guys. I'm like, stop it. Stop it.
Yeah.
So I'm going KC all day on this part. See, I think we're aligned on that.
Joey Burrow's playing the risk game again, too. I don't know what the hell's up with him.
Concerning, eh?
Circus.
Well, that's
Circus.
the only explanation is that the Bengals have played Kansas City very well in the past. You know, you talk about trends, but that would be it, that they have shown that they are capable of beating them. But you lose to the Pats at home. The offense looked horrendous. Burrow looked terrible. Chiefs, Andy Reid, Mahomes at home, no travel, long week. Are you kidding? This line makes no sense. This is a Doogie jam job. This game that had no right to be a part of this.
Okay, I agree, Hayes, but that's almost what scares me. Like, what am I, last night I'm looking at this game and I'm like, how was I this far off?
Right.
What did I not see? And I feel the same way about this. Like, how is this line not, like you said, 7.5, 8, 8.5? And the funny thing is, if it's 8.5, I'm probably still taking KC.
Right. Same. Well, I mean, maybe Jamar Chase has sold people on how good they are. Did you hear this from earlier today? Let's play it. Jamar Chase on how he feels about the Bengals and how he thinks the rest of the league feels about the Bengals.
Everybody knows that, bro. It's not no if. You know what I'm saying? We are the team to beat in the AFC, and we know it, and we got to act like it, and we got to play like it too.
That is the most delusional comment of all time.
No one
just
knows.
Lost to New England.
Again, I'm really getting annoyed with the Cincinnati team because it's just a lot of talk.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and it's like, hey, congratulations. What is it, 3 years ago? You guys lost in the Super Bowl? Let's clap your hands for that, everyone. Great job. Like, what are we talking about?
No kidding.
Seriously, what are we talking about here?
No kidding.
I mean, it's absurd.
It's absurd.
It's absurd.
And so is that line, yet it's locked in. So there you go. You guys are on the Chiefs -5.5. Another big spread on the Sunday night are Bears-Texans in Houston. Houston laying 6.5.
Come on, man. That's a layup.
Yeah, we're taking Houston. I'll explain why we're going to take Houston. One, I really like the way that they handled their game last week at Indianapolis within the division on the road. They go in there and win that game. They have a lot of weapons. I thought C.J. Stroud looked really good, and he spread the ball around really well. But this is more about the Bears. Like, the Bears were terrible, and somehow they won that ball game. They're down 17-0. Caleb Williams is scaring me, and it's early. But rookie on the road for the first time, under the lights for the first time. He didn't even throw for 100 yards last week. I don't see how that offense is going to keep up with Houston. I think Houston's going to find a way to put 23, 24 on the board, if not more. And I know that Bears defense is pretty good, and they looked really good last week. But I think this Houston offense is good enough to get to 23 or 24 points. And I'm not sure if Caleb Williams can get to 17. Like, I don't think he can get to 17 the way it looked last week. So I'll lay the points. We will lay the points. I'm sure Al's brother's loving it. Houston -6.5. We're on the favorites.
Artsy, I'm not going to lie to you. This is actually, I'm loving it. I'm loving it, and I'm not even just saying this. I got the Bears backdooring this all day. Caleb, yes, was terrible. I agree. I totally agree with that. But if you look at some of the areas where he really struggled, some of it was just flat-out accuracy. And I think he was just a little too jacked up. I'm thinking of the throw to Keenan Allen early in the game. He hits that, gets in a rhythm. I'm not saying the guy throws for 300, but I think he, as rookies do, rides that roller coaster a little bit better than he did last week. Also, what Hayes is forgetting is this Bears defensive unit is an elite unit, an elite unit. So now all of a sudden, this is exactly how it's going to be. Houston's going to be up 10, and then be like, man, game's over. Pick the ball off with a minute 10, and what do you got to do? Hey, you know what? We've lost. Yeah, we're the Bears. We've lost. But we got a rookie quarterback. We need him to get reps. We need him to get experience. Get in there, Caleb. Get down the field and score a touchdown, a 2-minute drive. He'll punch one in with about 4 seconds to go. The Bears lose by 3, and we go 3-0 on Sunday. And the group chat's blowing up, and Twitter's blowing up, and Al's bro's coming from over the top talking about the moon phases, and Timo and Wilson is right back on top. Let's get it.
Artsy, that was like a Playboy novel, like the stories in the old Playboys. That's what you just read. It was a gorgeous story. It was a gorgeous story.
Well, I got two things to say. Shannon Sharp would like that potentially. I don't know. He's had
Yes, he would.
he's had some press lately.
Yeah.
And secondly, I'm concerned if you guys lose and Hayes wins, like if you do this all without Al's brother, like I'm concerned that Al's brother is going to be. His conditioning stint is going to be extended. That's the other thing.
Possible.
You said yesterday, no, under any circumstances, he will be returning to the club.
Okay, yeah. Let me clarify that. I believe that's still the case. Yeah, I'm a believer that that's still the case. Yeah.
So I
I'm
do have
planning on
an
that.
idea here that could potentially work. You know, if you look back, we want to talk about trends. Al's brother loves trends. So if we look back at the last 3 seasons, all right, Al's brother has been a handicap on whomever's team he's been on. So potentially Al's brother can float to whoever's in the lead so that he can tighten this thing up. Because, hey, if you bring this guy back, we're talking it'll be double digits by week 5. It'll be a like insurmountable.
So you're saying I'm going to send him over to cool you guys down, and that will
He can
even
be the cooler.
playing field
Try
out.
and get in people's heads.
That would be actually quite the experiment. If you just flip Al's brother to the other side and they just completely crater.
He was a rover. He's a rover.
If
but
he's a
cooler.
rover, a black cloud rover.
He's not coming over here, I'll tell you that.
Not allowed?
If you're stuck with him for this year. Next year, we might flip the teams, add a third team. Might be an
Okay.
expansion, but not this year.
All right. We'll see. We'll see. All right, buddy. Well, there you go. Picks are in. We'll catch you Monday.
Sounds good. See you guys Monday.
There it is. Luke Willson joining us here on OverDrive. And Mail It In Fridays are brought to you by Boston Pizza, the best place for any family meal. Plus, for the month of September, kids eat free with minimum purchase when you dine in. So grab the kids and hustle into your local BP tonight. Best bet still to come. Dear Hayesy-B coming up as well. The weekly staple. OverDrive continues. TSN 1050 and on TSN 2.
Insight, the ability to see and understand why you do the things you do.
Dear Hayesy-B.
We're going to go down there and have a donkey barbecue, and I'm going to furnish the ass, right?
You don't want to hide a Mars bar in your sleeping bag when there's a bear outside the tent.
Back for another week. Somebody at Costco stopped and said, appreciate what you guys do on Friday. You help people. And I said, we try our best. It's not very serious stuff, but in certain circumstances, we do help people.
All right.
Like the guy last week with no toilet paper in his house.
Mm-hmm.
He's not
There was
doing
some-
that anymore.
Now, there were some people that were calling him out, saying they thought that. Now, he might have just stolen toilet paper from his work. But
Now, there's some
sounds like-
dummies that are making stuff up. It's up to Doogie to filter through that. He's done 1 out of 10 job in the last 2 years, but we'll get better.
He's moving in the right direction.
Boy,
It's all
yeah,
good.
yes.
All right,
Here's
what do
a
we
quick
have
one,
this week?
Hazy. Me and you, speaking of survivor pools, we dump a team week 1 every year.
Mm-hmm.
We dump a team. Dear Hayesy-B, I run a survivor pool, and over 50%, 100 people of the pool is out week 1 due to the Bengals. Everyone is trying to pressure me to give a week 1 mulligan, but I disagree. They should get it. Am I in the wrong?
No, you're 100% in the right. You're an adult, and this is the way it works.
Come on, dude.
No, there's none of this. You can't do it. The whole point of the survivor pool is the guys that didn't pick the Bengals, they're in great shape. They were smart. They avoided picking the Bengals. Like that, it is such a disservice to the guys who put money in and made the right pick to allow everybody back in. You can't do that. There's no mulligans in a survivor pool. I mean, come on. That's like buybacks in a poker game where it just gets stupid and people just buy back until they start getting hot hands and start winning again. You can't have it, man. What you can do is send out an email and say, listen, if it's done early, we'll set up another one, right?
What about a heavy penal buyback?
That's intriguing. But what would that be? Let's say it's $100 to get in. $500 if you want to buy back in?
Well, let me ask you this. Would you pay $500 to get
No,
back
I
in?
wouldn't. I
But
wouldn't.
then that's the penalty. Then it's
Okay.
$500. You want to play ball, it's $500.
That might be reasonable. That's the way to get the
but
pot rolling again.
Yeah, but all you're doing is just Like, it's cheating. You're buying yourself another chance. Like
I know,
forget
but
it.
Noodle's desperate when you go out in week one. It's desperate
It
times,
sucks
man.
when you're out week one. I get that. I understand that. I'm in another survivor pool. I took the Bengals. I'm out already. It sucks. But it's a survivor pool.
That's right. You make a call, and the Bengals looked like a great call, and you butchered it. You screwed it up. So did me and Hayesy-B. We got to chew on it.
Right. Nothing you can do about that.
Another 100 in Brad's back pocket, probably. Who knows?
We got to figure out who we like this week, man. I'll talk to you later tonight.
Okay.
There's some thin picks or what?
There's a couple of big favorites. Like, I think Baltimore at home. They got Vegas at home. That's a pick everyone's going to take.
Have you guys ever had a survivor pool? Like, it's just the last one out, right? Like,
whoever's last man standing gets.
But it's the last man standing. You've ever had a survivor pool where it's like week 5?
Oh yeah. If you get in one where there's only it's buddies and there's 20 guys.
Yeah.
If you get a bunch of like big upsets early in the year, you can be over quick, and that's what I'm saying. This commissioner needs to step up and say, "Stop bothering me. You're out." But if the season ends quick here, I'll run another one. Week 6 through 18 or whatever, week 10 through 18. Fair. If you get enough guys and you want to start a secondary one, I'm happy to run that as well. But you're buying back in, and you're out of this one, and we're taking your money, and it's applied to the pot. Come on, grow up. Let's go.
Yeah.
Noodles, I'd like your advice on this one because this one's a doozy. Well, you're both going to have to chime in. Dear Hayesy-B, I just got offered 2 seats to a box for the Taylor Swift concert on the Saturday night in November. My girlfriend will go nuts if I tell her. Thing is, the boys have a trip planned for Buffalo to party Saturday night and hit the Bills game Sunday. What's the move? Concerned boyfriend and friend.
Oh, no. You want I can weigh in on this.
Yes, go
sure.
ahead.
You got the tickets, but you send your girlfriend. Like, you don't have to go.
Thank you very much.
Is that the play? Can you pull that off?
What are you talking about? She will take a homeless person with her to go see Taylor Swift. You don't need to be there dancing around like a fool. Like, you send her and say, hey, I got you 2 tickets for a box to Taylor Swift. Take your best friend. Take your niece who's 11 or 12. Mm-hmm. Like, that's what you're not standing there with a bucket hat on and a mustache like the other guy. What's that? Kelsey, he's doing that.
The U.S. Open. Yeah.
I think if there was some truth serum, she would look you straight in the face and say, I would rather bring my best friend anyway.
Exactly. Why do you want to go?
There's truth to that, too. Now, I'd like to know more about this. Like, if you got it through like work or something, then I'm sure it's presumed you're going to be there representing work.
Yeah,
that's complicated.
Fair.
Like, if there's some sort of obligation, it's like, hey, I got the tickets, but it's understood like I'm going and I'm going to clearly bring my girlfriend. That's different. Then he's got to make a call because he's probably. I think the play is you just say, boys, I'll be there for the game, but I'm doing Taylor Swift. Like, I'm going to miss out on whatever you're doing Saturday night, and I'm pretty much can guarantee you I know exactly what they're going to do.
Yeah.
And they're probably going to be on both sides of the border, and I know pretty much what's going to be going on. But you make sure you're down there.
Lane.
You make sure you're down there by Sunday for kickoff. I guess that's the Chief game, which I think is the 4:00 game. You can have your cake and eat it too. Taylor Swift, make everyone happy. See it. You missed out on the night, but you fly down there Sunday morning. You tailgate and you floor it Sunday. And what you do is now you say, you know what? I'm not coming back Sunday night after the game. I'm staying down there Sunday. I'll see you Monday.
Yeah, but you know
you
what?
have a hall pass for a long, long time.
You do, but your idiot buddies will want to go home Sunday because
a concern.
They've gone out Saturday night and they hit the wall Sunday after the game. They're like, we're going back, and you're like, hey, what are we doing, boys?
You need one heavyweight. You need one heavy that's got 2 nights in them.
You make a good point. It's the obligation. Do you have to be there with the tickets, or do you just hand them over and say, here's 2? Because I think the girlfriend would rather take a friend.
I can speak from my own experience. I got my wife Taylor Swift tickets for her birthday down in Detroit. I know for a fact she would have preferred to bring her sister. Like, I know that is a 100% fact.
This is what you do. You have a nice luncheon or a brunch set up with her best friend, and then you open up the envelope. You get them a couple things of like sangria, some wine and booze. You get them boozy, and then you say, guess what, you two? you're going to Taylor Swift, and you will be a god for an hour.
Yes, you will be.
And then you also slide in, I'm on my way to Buffalo that Saturday. So
well,
I want you guys to
just
have
say
a
what
good time.
you guys are doing your thing. I will be doing my thing. That's what you say. You guys, since you guys will be doing your thing, I guess you know what? I'll jump in on that boys trip. The guys
just be straight up. So. What's wrong with coming with the heat? Say I don't want to go. Go with your girlfriend because I got other things to do.
Honestly, you go right at people. Disarm people with the truth.
Exactly.
Go right at them.
I like the way you're
Hayesy-B,
thinking.
this one's for you.
Okay.
Because I think you have a weird type of know how to deal with this. Dear Hayesy-B, I have a coworker that I get along with great. However, on 2 to 3 occasions, I have been using the urinal in the restroom, and the coworker will walk in and say hi to me and try to spark up conversation while we're both at the urinal. I give one-word answer to his questions and hint that I don't want to have this convo right now, but he doesn't get it. How do I approach him to explain to him talking at the urinal is unacceptable behavior?
Yeah, this is one that every guy has come across. And
I can just imagine your awkward face if someone, while taking a leak, wanted to just talk about the top 5 hazy list in the urinal. You would go psycho.
It's just not something that I need to take part in. And here's the truth about mankind is that 50% of us are the guy talking. 50% of the others that are like, hey, can we not do this here? Like, obviously, there's a large population of men who are looking to spark up a chat, just trying to do their thing. For me, I don't think you need to be blunt. I don't think it has to be an awkward, hey, this isn't the way it goes. Basically, you just got to pick your spots and try to avoid being in there at the same time. And if for whatever reason you cross paths, basically just look at the wall, don't even acknowledge the guy, get over to the sink, and then start continuing the conversation. And once you do it once, you would think the guy has enough radar to be like, all right, end of discussion while this is happening. I'll wait 30 seconds. Again, it's not like you're in a lounge waiting for a flight and you might be there for 2 hours. This is like 30 seconds. Yeah. Can't wait. Put that on hold for 30. We'll do the walk and talk down the hall afterwards. Yeah. Right? That's the way that it has to be.
If you want to put a little bit of work in, by the way, it's not more psycho than Daryl at the Scotiabank with a jean jacket and a rat tail and a goatee who just takes a leak and it sticks out the hand and says, "Oh, dog, what's going on?" And shit, wants to.
Yes, you're right.
Daryl, you got to go. It's just you don't ever do anything like that in the bathroom. I don't even care if you just wash your hands.
Never. Nothing more than a nod is really
it's
necessary.
A nod, not even no eye contact.
How's
you
it going?
Can have. I feel like if you get your business done though quick, then you can chat while you're by the sink. Like
sure.
Even if he's still taking a leak, the awkward part is when they're too comfortable. And, like, somebody drops a fart or something. You're like, I don't need to hear that. I don't need – like, it's the worst. Like, public bathrooms, like, you go in there with somebody you respect. Have you ever done that? You go in with – hey, I'm going in with my boss, or you go in with somebody and they're talking or they're just – and all of a sudden they – drop a big fart. Like, it's awkward because you're just like, all right, was that?
I'm not going to lie. If there is someone of importance and you're trying to be cool and they let one howl, I'll fall down laughing.
But it is. You could go in with a mentor and you're like, this guy's really cool and that. You're talking because you're not in the next urinal. You're a couple away because you give your space. And that person's in the middle of a conversation going, yeah, we've got a hedge fund, and they let one. It's awkward. You're like,
very strange.
We're not in your living room here or whatever.
Yeah, but I guess at the same time, maybe it's, that it's like, remember when your teachers would snap every once in a while because some kids would just stunk, like for whatever reason. The teacher would flip out and be like, if that's going to happen, if you could go out into the hallway or go. Maybe that person just really took that to heart. Said, fine, this is what I'm going to do the rest of my life. I'm just going to make sure this happens in one particular spot. It's not bad, actually. It's not an unreasonable move in terms of everyone else in the office or what have you. It's just for you personally when you're in the situation.
Yeah, there's certain things where you respect people and you see them in a social setting or in a different setting. It's awkward. I remember my grade 7 science teacher. I was playing in the NHL. I'll go back. I'm in the gym with him. He's in the steam room. He's buck naked. I'm like, that's my grade, And he's talking about hockey, and I'm like, dude,
know.
I can't do it. I'm sorry,
It's
I
like,
can't
come
do
on,
it.
pal. You got to towel up here.
This guy
gotta
is
figure this out,
spread
please.
eagle, and he's a bear. He's the hairiest man you've ever met. And I'm like, this is awkward. Like, I got to get out of here. And he's asking me about what the off season.
What was your save percentage last year? I had you pegged at 198. Man,
certain
you played great.
yeah, exactly. Certain things you just can't do. Just can't do it.
All right, we have one more.
One more quick one, and it's an understandable mistake, and we got to fix this one. Maybe we get the Maple Leafs involved with this cat. Dear Hayesy-B, I'm a massive Leafs fan, and it was my birthday yesterday. Opened the gift from the wife and found 2 tickets for a Marlies game. Problem is, the wife thinks it's for the Leafs game against the Senators. In quotations, Belleville. And was super excited about it. What's the move? How do I break it to her that that's not Leaf tickets?
Yeah, that's tough.
It's tough because she tried to do something nice.
Yep. And it's the Belleville Senators and somehow got it mixed up. Marlies, Leafs. Maybe doesn't have a history of buying tickets because the tickets were probably like $35 compared to what the Leaf tickets would be.
Yeah.
I guess you just got to be blunt. You just have to be blunt, and you just have to say, this is the reality, because guess what? You're going to get there at some point, and you're going to be at Coca-Cola Coliseum. You're not going to the Scotiabank Arena.
You know,
right?
She won't be happy, though, if you're blunt. Like, we always use that term, you be blunt, but it's like
you have to be blunt. You have to say, you have to be honest and be like, these are not Leaf tickets, but I'm still really excited. Let's go to this game. It'll be awesome. That's the play. Let's make fun. Let's put the extra money that maybe we're going to put towards a Leaf game. We're going to the Marlies. Let's go have a big lunch or a big dinner, and let's really floor it. We'll take an Uber down if you're in the city, whatever it is. That's the play. Just make sure make sure she knows that you appreciate the thought, and it will still turn out to be a great game, a great experience. But you're not going to see the Leafs. Like, there's no dancing around it. It can't be, hey, I got tickets to, Harbor 60. It's like, no, there's no point in doing that. Like, we're not going there. We're going
you
somewhere
could call
else.
you could call in a lefty from the bullpen, bring your neighbor over for a beer, and just put them on the counter, and the neighbor could say, "Oh, you guys are going to see Belleville?"
That might be an easier way.
That is a veteran play.
But then you know what you got to do? Then you got to be prepared for, well, why didn't you tell me? I didn't, and then you have to play dumb. Oh, I didn't realize that. Like, you better be a good actor, because if she sniffs out that you pulled the plant in, then you're digging yourself into a bigger hole.
You just come up with this classic, Hazy. You say, I opened the envelope, and I didn't even have to look down. I just looked at your face and saw the happiness in your face, and that made me happy.
Yeah, right.
Now you're in a...
Now, then she sniffs that out, goes, dude,
now
you're
you're lying.
We're not going to the game
But
at all.
keep in mind, like the Marlies, Belleville, that'll be a good game. You guys know I'm friends with the coaches in the Marlies. Like,
right.
It's good. Like, it's good hockey. Game. It's great. Like, it's not the Leafs. You're right. I think it's great that you get to go, but you're right. It's not the Leafs, but it's the baby Leafs. So enjoy the night.
There's nothing wrong with that. But the point is, if she thinks she's going to see the Leafs with you, that is going to be a shocking development when you get to the door and you're not going to see the Leafs. Get out in front of that quick. Make it a big night. Have fun. Be awesome. Going to see I've been to a bunch of Marley games. You guys have been there. It's an awesome rink. It's a really cool rink. It's downtown. It's amazing. All right, Best Bets brought to you by FanDuel coming up. There you go, Dear Hayesy-B. Another one in the books, helping people, and that's why we're here. OverDrive continues. TSN 1050 and on the TSN app. All right, today's Best Bets powered by FanDuel. Make your picks and assemble a same-game parlay in seconds on the FanDuel Sportsbook app. Like I said earlier, I like the Bucks plus 7.5. I like Houston laying 6.5, and the Chargers only laying 4.5 in Carolina. That Carolina team is so bad. I get Chargers going across the country. Brutal. It's not going to be easy, but they look good in week one. They look tough. Jim Harbaugh's got them playing a certain system, a certain style.
Spikes on. Jimmy likes the spikes.
He likes the spikes, and I think Carolina's in a position where they're waiting to lose, and it's not a big number, 4.5. I'll lay it. Today's Best Bets powered by FanDuel. The FanDuel Sportsbook app is the exclusive home of the OverDrive same-game parlay. Please play responsibly, 18+ and physically located in Ontario. It's been a fun one today. It's going to be a lot of buzz in the city. Great weather all weekend. You got the Jays at home and in action. You've got the Argos playing on the West Coast. You've got TIFF in town. And Mail It In Fridays was brought to you by Boston Pizza, the best place for any family meal. Plus, for the month of September, kids eat free with minimum purchase when you dine in. So grab the kids and hustle into your local BP tonight. All right, there you go.
Good stuff.
Good stuff. By next week, it'll be go time with obviously the NHL in action. And
AB
also,
will be back. AB will be back.
And absolutely. And we're off to Montreal as well in about a week and a half for the President's Cup. So we're looking forward to that, too. It's going to be fun. All right. We're out of here. Thanks to everyone behind the scenes for helping out. Everyone for tuning in today. TV, radio, podcast, web. We appreciate it. Enjoy your evenings. Enjoy your weekends. We're back Monday at...
You're just not going to Taylor Swift. Send her with her friend from the boys. 4 p.m.
We'll chat then.